culturally, we don't talk about money.
If somebody gave you $1 million right now,
Girl, women are not good with money and they will never be good with money. Spend. Unfortunately, I know I'm a financial literacy educator. As a Black woman working in the financial industry, I feel way better and more empowered here in Toronto, Canada, than I was in Paris.
wow, I love that. I really, really love that. Hi everyone, and welcome to another exciting episode of Leading Lady Talks. My name is Abimbola, the founder of Leading Ladies Connect, and we are a community created to bring women together for opportunities and also amplify their voices. Today, we're talking money, and not just numbers, but we're talking about how you can change your life by making better financial decisions. My guest today is a bilingual transformational coach that helps people make better financial decisions by educating them financially, creating financial literacy workshops across the world, from Paris to Luxembourg and now in Toronto. Please welcome with me today, Alexia Kitoko. Thank you so much for joining us, and you look so beautiful.
Thank you, Abimbola. Hi, how are you? Hi, everyone.
Nice. So, this is really exciting because, of course, I've been to some of your teachings and I've learned, a bit about like how money can actually change a perspective, improve your personality, and also help you make better decisions. What got you started? Like, what's your money story?
Oh, that's an interesting question. So I'll start to introduce myself. I'm Alexia Kitoko, Congolese, born and raised in France. I've worked in banks all of my life, more than 10 years in France, in Luxembourg, and then in Canada at RBC Wealth Management for 4 years. And I launched my company that's called 123 Finance, which is a bilingual business, French-English, Toronto-based, where I empower underserved communities through fun and engaging financial literacy. So how my journey started is, at home. So I grew up in a Congolese family in Paris. And at home, my parents, they didn't really talk about money. My mom, she was always tell me, like, you have to save money just in case something happened, though. She was always telling me this, but she was never trying to educate me just because she didn't know better, right? Mm-hmm. And you have to always save money, Alexia, it was more coming from a scarcity mindset than a building wealth mindset, right? And then fortunately, at some point on the weekend, I was working at a store. It was the equivalent of Loblaws here in Canada. I was a cashier. Right. And then at some point, I went into to walk down my street. And there at the bank, they were looking for students to work on the weekend. So I applied, and then I started a new job at the bank every Saturday on top of studying. And all of my family was like, oh my God, Alexia, she's working at a bank. It's amazing. And also I'm the eldest daughter of my family, of an African family. So, oh my gosh, she's working at a bank. She will earn money, yada, yada, yada. And then just like that, I stepped into the banking industry and I just walked my way from the bottom to the top. And then I graduated with a bachelor degree and then a master degree, finance at the Université Paris-Dauphine, back in Paris, in France. And then I worked in banks in France, Luxembourg for 2 years in wealth management, and then Canada. So it was just logical to me to work in banks, up until I discovered that it was not really my purpose. I didn't really like it. I woke up on the morning and I didn't feel like I was supposed to be there anymore.
Wow. So I guess that would you say that your experience growing up influenced your decision to go this path?
I think it did in some way because, the banking industry, I didn't know anything about it when I was 18 years old, right? And then as soon as I entered the banking industry, I was curious. I started and I was like, oh, that's, I'm learning about credit cards and like insurance, savings, and all that. And I was talking to all of those things to my sisters, my friends, and my mom, and no one knew about it. So I was like, oh, that's interesting because I'm younger than everyone. And now I know stuff that I can teach to people. So that's why I decided to stay within the industry, because I was like, yeah, I'm learning, I'm growing, and I have this ability to also educate and empower my friends and my family. So that's why then I did the bachelor degree. I learned even more. And then I was like, okay, let me do the master's. And then, okay, let me do work in banks. And then let me do wealth management. And up until there, I was just learning more and more and more and educating my family. And yes, I feel like the fact that I didn't have that education definitely pushed me into that direction of learning more about the financial literacy. And thank God I was at the university with like-minded individuals, with all of the students, like also learning about money, talking about money. Nothing was taboo anymore, While when I grew up, money was taboo. Don't talk about it. It's for evil people, or. And at the university, it was like, we talk about money every single day. We study it, right?
Right.
So, yeah, I really don't regret that choice. And I feel like it was really meant to be.
That's exciting. And I mean, I can imagine that it was a different world for you, especially like coming from Africa where we don't have access to like credits, we don't do credit cards, you pay for everything by cash. Do you think that the environment in like now that you are like, of course, this expert when it comes to educating people in finances, when immigrants come here, what do you think, or in your experience with dealing with immigrants, what's the greatest money shock that usually happens?
I think you have a great point here, and it happened for me the same way because I'm Congolese, but I was born and raised in France, and in France, in New York, in Europe, we don't really use credit cards the same way we use it here in Canada. So I think it's the same way in Africa, whether it's Nigeria, Congo. Credit cards are another thing. Even credit scores that are impacted by your credit score. We don't have it in Luxembourg. We don't have it in France. We don't have it in Congo and Nigeria, right? So it's definitely something that's pretty new when you come to Canada.
Yeah.
It was new for me, even if, I'm coming from this financial background. I still had to come to Canada and learn about the credit cards and like, okay, I need to get a credit card because I need to have a good credit score because it's going to impact the way I'm showing up in society, the way I'm looking for a job or looking for a place and all that. So I had to learn about it. And thank God, because I have that financial education, it was pretty easy for me to understand, okay, I should take a credit card, but this is the way I should use it, right?
Yeah.
And the way I empower people, especially Francophones, Black people, immigrants, the way they come here, they go at the bank, unfortunately, and we just give you a credit card, you sign the paper,
Free money.
Exactly. You're gonna pay every year, you're gonna pay this, and that's it. We don't really explain to you the way you should use it. You have to pay it off every 21 days, you have to not use more than 30% of your maximum limit, all of those things. And I feel like it's really a huge difference that I see culturally for people coming from Africa,
Right.
especially because debt in general is not a good thing for us. When we look at, even in France, we go in debt if you want to buy a property or a car, for example, but not to go to school or to
get
buy
a phone.
To get a phone. We don't do that.
Yeah.
And also the big difference in Europe is, I went to a super prestigious university for free in France. And it's still possible to do it in Europe. But in Canada, as soon as you want to go to school, you have to get in debt, right?
Yeah.
So the culture is completely different. So that's a huge, huge shock that I can see from immigrants coming from Africa.
Because I feel like that money mindset usually frames like our identity, right? Because like most times, if you don't have enough money, it affects the way you show up in the world. So in all these years that you've provided all this financial literacy, you've helped a lot of women. What do you think is your greatest advice to women when it comes to money?
I would say get in the midst of things.
Yeah.
Whether really get into it now. The best way to do it was yesterday. The
Yeah.
second best time to do it is today.
Yeah.
Right. So whether you're a single or married or in a relationship, whether you're an entrepreneur or professionals, you have to increase your knowledge. Get curious, ask questions, whether it's starting like a book or a podcast or follow an influencer or, having like a financial coach or maybe a community on WhatsApp. When we talk about our parents or grandparents, for example, they don't have the knowledge and they didn't have the resources.
Yeah.
We have to be honest. Podcast, all of that, internet, Google, AI, they didn't have all that, right? So they have kind of an excuse. Now we have social media, we have Google, AI, podcast, books. And so that's why when I see people still struggling with financial literacy and not being curious about it, it's like you have actually no excuse.
Right.
I know that financial literacy, it's hard. It's not easy to start.
Different. Yeah.
But you have to start. You're not alone. You can start with a friend, have an accountability buddy, attend a workshop, watch something on TV, on podcast. There's so many things you can do to start your financial journey that if you're not curious and you don't want to do it, it's an excuse.
Right.
It's an excuse, right? Our parents, grandparents, they didn't have anything. We have everything, and we just leave all of the resources on the table.
Right. I know that, of course, with your work, you've worked with a lot of high net worth individuals, helping them like plan their finances, work on their money. What do you think is one of the secrets of high net worth people? How do they treat or relate with money?
So there's multiple things here, because the first thing is, I was used to work in banks, and the high net worths, they are curious and interested. They're in the midst of the thing, even if they don't necessarily know everything about money, they will go to a bank and they will get like a high net worth bankers to be hand on hand with them and do the things, right? So they're really interested in the thing. Another thing with the high net worth is, whether it was in France or in Luxembourg, I didn't see a lot of people looking like me. It was a lot of white people, older people, business owners, entrepreneurs. Some of them, they had also a legacy from their family. So that's why whenever I empower people through financial literacy, I'm big on building generational wealth and generational wellness. So generational wealth, it's like, I'm buying a real estate property and I plan to pass it on to my kids or my grandkids. And the building generational wellness, it's about passing on money habits, like a positive money mindset, all of those things. And usually the high net worth, especially white people, they have that. They have wealth that they want to pass. They go to bankers and they're able to pass that wealth to other people, which I didn't necessarily have growing up, for example. And I remember an anecdote when I went to university in Paris Dauphine in France. We were chatting with other people, and one of the girls, she was like, "Oh yeah, my brother and I, we have an apartment in here close in Paris. So I have an apartment, and my brother has another apartment because my parents, they bought apartments for us in Paris, yada yada yada." Yeah. And me, I was there, and my mom was like, "You have to save money because I want you to be the first in the family to buy a real estate property." And our life is different too. Right. We have to admit that we're not starting from the same point too. So that's another reality.
The opportunities that they have are not the same.
Exactly.
Do you think that money trauma is a thing?
Ooh, absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely. Money trauma, like, a lot of people, they will tell you that knowledge is power.
Right.
And sometimes this is the case, but it's not always the case, especially in the financial industry. I saw that. A lot of people, they know what is a budgeting strategy. They know what is a TFSA. However, they still don't use it the way they should use it, right? Why? Because of their relationship with money. And most of the time, the relationship you have with money, whether you have a scarcity mindset or you're avoidant or you're scared, or it's coming from your mindset, and your mindset is coming from your past experiences, your education at school, or with your
Orientation.
parents and grandparents. Even culturally, we don't talk about money. Money is for evil people. All of that, if you hear that every single day, every single year, for 15 years or for 18 years, then when you're 18 years old, you start to believe that this is true,
Right.
right? And you're not responsible of that. But then you're responsible of taking the shift and taking ownership on your financial journey and change that,
Right.
right?
Right. Because, like, I feel like a lot of people are not even aware that, they are living in like that scarcity mindset, and, they just keep showing up in the world, working, doing as much, being busy, but not particularly like getting the results that they want. So now that you started like 123 Finance, what exactly is 123 Finance? I mean, I know what it is, right?
Yes.
But for those that are listening, they're probably wondering like, what is 123 Finance, and where can we find you?
Absolutely. So 123 Finance is a Toronto-based company, bilingual, where I empower underserved communities through fun and engaging financial literacy. So I'm creating inclusive and safe spaces for people to actually want to learn about financial literacy. Why? Because it's fun, it's engaging, we can laugh and we do things, right? I don't just come at a place and talk for an hour. I'm going to have interactions, case studies. Whenever I do case studies, it's going to be relatable to the immigrants. It's not, it's not going to be about John Smith, that is Canadian born and all that, right? So it's relatable content. And what I do is I work mainly with large corporations, and I offer team buildings and lunch and learn, so which is really interactive. I also work with nonprofit organizations and universities. So most of the time, Students Association, Black Students Association, same thing. I go there and we have like games and all that, so that people want to engage in financial literacy. Super important, especially for students, because they are the leaders of tomorrow. 15 years ago, I was a student, and now I'm a business owner, international business owner. So we really have to target students. And another thing that I'm doing is I'm empowering women through women game nights. So, if you have a party room, you can book me. You tell your friends, you guys have like drinks and food, and you book me for 2 hours. You choose a theme, and I come to your place. And you can ask me questions about financial literacy, and I'm educating you like in a fun and engaging way. Because most of the time, we have to be true. When we say financial literacy, people are like, "Oh my God, I'm scared." Either I'm scared, or it's complicated, or it's boring. It's never joyful. It's never happiness. It's never
like talking about money.
Exactly, right? So I'm trying to change it and to bring a little bit more of my personality into my business, because I'm a really joyful person and empathetic and always smiling. So I'm trying to bring that in the financial literacy industry, and more specifically in my business.
Right. That's awesome. Well, I know that you talked about talking about money to women. What do you think, to a woman listening out there, what would you say is one of the greatest mindset shifts that a woman can have towards money?
I think it's the fact that women are not good with money, and they will never be good with money.
Right.
And this is something that it's for other people. Either it's for men, or if you're a Black woman, you can say it's not for Black women. It's for other people. It's not for Black people to invest and take care about their money. And I'm saying that because actually one of my friends, her name is Joelle. She's the one who made me really take that leap to really engage in 123 Finance and be like, okay, maybe I should do a business with it, because we were both working at RBC at that time. And, when you work at a bank, you have all of those retirement savings plan or employee savings plan where every 2 weeks you get paid and they take money from that pay. And then if you invest, they can add more money, they match, and then you can choose your investment. So I was talking about that to her. I was like, oh, I did that, maximize all that. And she was like, what is all that? I don't even know what you're talking about. And so just to say that it's not because you work at a bank that you
You
necessarily
might be
know.
illiterate, right?
Exactly, because she was working in insurance, which is really different than wealth management.
Right.
And she was curious. The thing with her is she was curious, but she always thought that like handling money was not for her. It's too complicated. She doesn't trust the bankers. You go on Google, it's too complicated. So she was like, I will never be interested in money. However, she was saving money and she was responsible, right? And so she came to me. I took an hour and then we talked about finances. And she asked really genuine questions. She was really curious. And she was like, oh, you make it fun. I understood everything. It was not complicated. So I want to know more. And then she took an appointment with a banker and she came back. She was like, oh, okay, now I understand better because you took the time to explain to me. But why? Because she was curious, right? And she told me that. She was like, oh my God, now she's fully invested. She's talking about investment to her family back in France. And it's amazing. But at the beginning, she thought that money was not for her, like investing, it was not for her. So I feel like as soon as you know that limiting belief is not true, you are the most powerful human being on earth.
Yeah. I mean, knowledge is always power. And I wanted to take it back to, of course, your knowledge now and, of course, your personal experiences. You've lived in different countries, different continents. You mentioned like you've lived, of course, in Europe. Now you're in North America, from Africa. What do you think is, in studying those financial climates, right? How do you think that the financial climate of a place can shape like your financial identity?
Oof. It actually shapes completely the way you see money, the way because we have to be real. I migrated to Canada 6 years ago. Now, and I was looking for a job. I think I looked for a job for a month and it was like, oh my God, why I'm not finding a job? I'm coming from Luxembourg with all of the experience, but you don't have the Canadian experience. My level of English was not necessarily as good as other immigrants, for example, coming from Nigeria. You guys have an amazing English. So, it was not easy, but I found a job in a month and it was already like, oh, I was complaining. But now I see people coming to immigrate to Canada looking for a job for 6 months, a year and a half. So we have to admit that it's super, super complicated right now and everything is more expensive. When I came, an entry-level job, it was $50K a year. Now I see some entry-level jobs, it's $32K. But the rent is more expensive than 6 years ago, the groceries and all that.
Yeah.
So the reality of things is that it's hard. And I understand that some people are overwhelming. They're overwhelmed by all this because it's overwhelming. We have to tell the truth. Everything is more expensive and I'm not earning more money. But that's why you need to be in your money even more, whether it's having a side hustle or looking at your expenses or looking for a new job that pays more. We have no choice because everything is more complicated. But this environment is definitely affecting your financial journey. And that's why I'm always talking about building generational wealth and wellness, because I have more hope for the following generation. And that's why I'm trying to educate people so that they educate their sisters, their brothers, their kids, their grandkids, so that the future generation, especially the future Black generation, will have the financial wellness and the financial wealth. If I take the example I told you about earlier with my friend at the university, where she said, "Oh, my parents, they have a real estate property for me and my brothers." So I have a niece. Her name is Alicia. She's 3 years old. She's back in France. I want Alicia to be able to say this in 20 years, right? And so what did I do? I told my sister is not in the financial industry. She knows nothing about money. But I told my sister, even if it's a small amount, let's open an insurance policy back in France. I put 300 euros. You put 50 euros every month. Every month for 20 years. and I'm handling the investment. I'm choosing the investment. And in 20 years, Alicia will have that amount of money, and she can either do a trip or travel the world or launch a business or whatever. She will have something, and she will have more that one I had, because my mom was amazing. What she did, she saved money for us to get, like, I think it was 2,000 euros when I got 18 years old. So I was able to pass my driving license. So my two other sisters, we had the same. So Alicia, I want her to have that, but on top, she's gonna have all of that amount of money. On top of passing the driving license.
That is really
so
good.
This is what I'm trying to instill in everyone's mind.
Right.
You have to do it for yourself, but also for the future generation. And just for people, for Black people, for the community.
Right.
If we all want to be richer and wealthier, we have to start here so that the next generation, they don't have to do all of the work again.
Right. I really, really love that, because my next point was going to be like asking you about like what your legacy looks like. And you already kind of described that. But I mean, when you're thinking about it now, like 25 years from now, what do you think, or even, 25, 30, 40 years from now, what do you think your legacy would look like?
Oh my God. I really wish I can let my legacy have, like, real estate properties, like assets, but also that wellness, that mindset about, okay, what is a budgeting strategy I need? Because, sometimes you can pass properties, but if they don't have the right mindset, that wellness,
they would squander everything.
Exactly. Yeah? Exactly. So that's why for me, it looks like generational wealth, generational wellness. And more than that, it's also even business-wise. Last time I did a course like at the Black Entrepreneurship Alliance. It was all about business process improvement for my business, 123 Finance. And the first question he asked us, it was, okay, if you were to pass away tomorrow, do you have a document that you can pass to someone so that they can keep your business going?
Wow.
And I feel like every entrepreneur should ask themselves that question. What if tomorrow something happened? Because it's been a year I'm grinding, like I'm doing well, hustling. But what if I pass away tomorrow? Yeah. Do I have a document? Can my niece take my company and keep going so that afterward I can sell that company? Or is just, 123 Finance is living with me?
Yeah.
It's super important.
When you were saying that, it just popped in my mind, like, a lot of women, and especially Black entrepreneurs, are in that zone, which is like most of us are just working for us and not like for somebody else. Cannot step into your business and run it. It's like you are the life of the business. And that really, really makes a lot of sense to emphasize on our families knowing about how to use money, how to be rich, how to pass on the knowledge that we have. So, I mean, I want to take you back now to, like, of course, the 12-year-old Alexia, right? What was it like for you? Like, what was your experience being that young, being where you were? Did you ever think about like your future or what it looked like outside that time frame?
When I was 12 years old, I don't think I was ever thinking about what I wanted to do. Maybe later on, maybe when I was 14, 16 years old, I was thinking, I want to be a dentist. And it never happened. I think with the study...
It's okay. I wanted to be an actress too, so...
I love that. So yeah, I think it just never happened. But... when I was 12, 15 years old, I didn't really feel that pressure of really knowing where you want to go, where you want to work. It was a little bit later on at high school and all that. But I feel like it was a long, long journey to, start your job and then your career and then your purpose. For me, my life has had really 3 different steps. It's, finding your job, you work in banks, whether in France, Luxembourg, Canada, and then your career, as soon as I went to Luxembourg, it was more high net worth. I want to become a private banker and have my proper clients and all that. and then it was not fulfilling. And then I finally find my purpose, which is my why. Why do I wake up every day? It's because I want to change people's life. Why? Because for me, building generational wealth and wellness is gonna help our community to show up differently. And when I say that, I'm really thinking again about that example. I don't want what I've lived when I was at the university at 20 years old to happen again to my niece or to my kids or my grandkids. It has to stop here. Right. This is my purpose. And I want every single people that attend one of my financial literacy experience to start thinking the same way and be like, okay, unfortunately, we are the generation, we have to do the work, but let's do it all together one step at a time.
Wow, I love that. I really, really love that because I am all for it's run down to me, but it stops with me, right? We're not taking this down our generational path. So of course we've been talking so seriously about money, 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 money. But what's one fun thing about you that most people don't know?
Oh my God. I did 2 years of boxing competition back in Europe. 1 year in France, 1 year in Luxembourg. So yeah, I was training five times a week, and I was doing boxing. So now I don't do it professionally anymore, but I can still go to the gym and doesn't look like it, huh? But
No, but you're very fit, so I'm not doubting that. You look like somebody who maybe like goes to the gym and does all these things. So what's one thing you can't leave the house without?
My purse, but there's a lot of things for my purse. I would say my lipstick. You
Not an ID.
The idea, yeah. That too. The idea and the lipstick. My lip gloss from Fenty.
Okay, that's nice. Okay, so what's your typical Friday night like? What do you do on Fridays?
Usually every Friday night, I go to the cell group. Me and my fiance, we go to the cell group together in Ajax. We have a group prayers, and people are praying for everyone, and we do a round table with testimonials and all that. And sometimes when they cancel cell, then I usually always have a second plan on my calendar, whether it's seeing friends or networking event. You know me, always in networking event. So if I'm not at the cell group every Friday night, then I'm at a networking event, or maybe home I'm having a me time, journaling and all that.
Right. So now I want to bring you back to your heritage, of course. You're a bilingual French person in Toronto and of course functioning in the world. What does that look like for you, like as an individual, as a woman, in the forefront in this industry that, of course, $1 billion, $1 trillion industry? How have you been able to like successfully navigate, like, of course, taking your business by the boot and, just going?
Oof. There's a lot in this. And first of all, I want to say that as a Black woman working in the financial industry, I feel way better and more empowered here in Toronto, Canada, than I was in Paris or in Luxembourg. Just because I have more opportunities here to be among my community, Black people, and the way people see me. I don't say that there is no racism in Canada, but it's less in your face. In France, in Europe, it's more in your face. And I think it's getting worse and worse than, 10 years ago when I was living there. So I feel definitely more empowered here in Canada. I feel like there's a lot of time and energy and investment, like investment in time and in the energy, whether it's doing all of those online courses, entrepreneur courses, listening to podcasts to be better, to feel better as an individual, seeing a therapist every month, working on yourself, going to the gym, drinking your water, all of that. Because as a business owner, most of the time, especially when you start as a solopreneur, you are your business. So if you're depressed or if you're not feeling good or if even you're financially unhealthy, your business, you will be financially unhealthy.
Right.
Too. So the first step is really take care of yourself. As a person, I really took care of myself first, whether it's spiritually, mentally, physically, financially, before being able to launch that company, right? Then once I launched the company, it was a lot of, networking events and, showing up offline and online, whether it's building your personal brand and posting on LinkedIn, posting about interesting things like what you know, giving knowledge to people, going to networking events, and network not to be seen, but to be remembered, right? Because a lot of people, they go at networking events, they just want people to see them and they dress a certain way, but it's the way you talk to people, the way you are empathetic to people, the way you listen actively to people, And I've seen also the power of planting seeds. Even before launching my business, there's a lot of seeds that I planted, a lot of networking event where I went and I was like, hey, I want to launch my business. I want to talk about financial literacy, yada, yada, yada. And then there's people like you reaching out and be, hey, you want to come and talk to my event at BDC? And then now, I was like, okay, now I have few people lining up as clients. It's the time for me to launch. So really don't underestimate like the power of planting seeds. It's, you never know who you can meet, right? So, but I really want people to understand that it's a lot of investment and a lot of the investment that people don't necessarily see. The investment that you do on yourself, on your personal growth, or all of the courses, the podcasts you listen to, the books you read and everything. It's a lot of investment on yourself. Yes.
Yeah. I know that you spoke about something that I wanted to refer back to, which is like the power of planting seeds and showing up holistically. But I know also that sometimes people feel like, but I've done all that, but I still don't have the results. What would you say to encourage somebody like that, who has like done the work, been to all the events? Yes, I've been to this, maybe for example accelerator and things like that. What would be your word of encouragement to somebody like that?
I would say be patient. Be patient because sometimes it's not coming right away. It takes a long time. All of the seeds I planted, sometimes it's coming back 6 months after, a year after, 2 years after, right? After that, if you're really doing the work and you don't see results, I would say maybe you have to find help, whether it's another court or maybe a coach. There's a lot of resources for women entrepreneurs.
A mentor, yeah.
Yeah, they could find a mentor. There's a lot of organization, including yours, that helping people to have mentor. There's other organization. I'm getting a business coach for free for 12 months because I identify as a woman, right? So, and as soon as I got that information, I didn't sleep on it. I called that person and they told me, yes, you can get a free business coach for a year. And some people, they sleep on resources. They sleep on information because sometimes there's so many, resources and programs that you're just overwhelmed.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you have to structure yourself and plan. It's not about calling everyone the same day, right? It's about planning. But I would say definitely seek for help, whether it's a social club for women, whether it's some people, they just want to volunteer for you and help you, especially in the environment right now. It's hard for people to immigrate and find a job. So most of them, they just want to volunteer and help you. But I would say don't stay by yourself and seek help, whether it's finding a WhatsApp group of entrepreneurs. Ask questions. How did you do to grow your business? Help me. Can you refer me to the right coach or whatever? There's a lot of way to find help.
Yeah. And I believe that too. So speaking of help, I want to talk about books that you read. What's your favorite book that you've ever read?
So my favorite one is the 4 agreements. Donc in French, les 4 accords Toltec. I read it in French, by the way. I love that book because it's bringing you back to some basics and some basics that I'm trying to implement in my life every day, right? So one of the 4 agreements is, for example, don't take anything personally. Whenever something happens, whether at work, with your husband or whatever, don't take anything personally. Don't make any assumptions. This one, a lot of people, they make assumptions on everything.
Yeah.
Networking event, oh, that person didn't look at me, or that person said that to me. It's like, oh my God, don't make an assumption. Ask the person, or don't make an assumption, right?
Right.
There's another one of the 4 agreements. It's like, always do your best.
Right.
As soon as you always do your best, it's gonna work out, right? Whether it's spiritually, mentally, physically, you gotta always do your best. And the last one, I think it's make sure you take care about your words, like the way you talk to people. That's super super important. And yeah, I'm a huge fan of personal development. And yeah, that one I really really enjoyed it. I'm trying to live by it. I have it on my not the vision board from this year, but I remember I've made the vision board in 2023. It was in the middle. Those 4 agreements was amazing.
Yeah. I mean, I love that because people always remember how you made them feel, right? So it's always important to say the right words. So now I wanted to go back to like you personally. What is the most expensive thing you spent money on?
Travels.
Oh my collecting God. Experiences.
Absolutely. When I was younger, it was more bags. Because me, I'm naturally a spender. If you were to ask me naturally, who are you? Are you a saver, investor? I'm a spender directly. Because I remember when I got that, and I got my first
big girl job,
my first diploma, the 2-year degree. I went and I bought a bag at Longchamp in Paris. So I know I'm a spender, but now it's more about, I don't really care about bags anymore. It's more the experiences, going on travels, on trips, and every month going on a trip. This is my thing, right?
Wow, that's amazing. So now, if you're gonna pick between like financial habits, for example, like would you do investing, taxing, or helping people, recover their debts or things, or pay off their debts and stuff? What's your most fascinating part of like financial literacy?
That's hard. I used to say that budgeting was my favorite one because for me, it's the start of everything.
Yeah.
But mindset too. Like my 2 favorites, we would say it's working on, money mindset in your relationship with money, and then the budgeting strategy. Because as soon as you can open your bank account without being avoidant, without being scared, without being anxious, it's the start of something, right?
Right.
Then you can see, okay, I have more expenses. Maybe I will lower my expenses and all that. And the budgeting strategy, then after, it's the start of everything. It's the start of your emergency fund, the way your savings, and then investing. Because, the idea about the financial house, you will never start by investing your money, especially if you don't have an emergency fund. Because what if something happened tomorrow, you have to go back to Nigeria? You don't want to go back to Wealth Simple and say, hey, I need my money back. No, you see what I mean?
Yeah.
So you have to start. It's like a house.
Yeah.
You will never start with the roof. You start with the foundation. In financial literacy, it's the same. You have your mindset, you have your emergency fund, the insurance to cover the loss of your job, and then you have saving and then investing, etc., etc.
Okay, amazing. So let's play a game. I'll tell you 2 things, you pick one.
Okay.
So save or spend?
Spend. Unfortunately, I know I'm a financial literacy educator.
Cash or credits?
Cash.
Okay, so Paris or Toronto?
Ooh. Girl, Paris or Toronto for what? It depends for what. If it's for shopping and eating food and having more vacation day, it's definitely Paris.
Right.
But if you tell me more open-minded, like work opportunities and all that, Toronto.
So meal prep or Uber Eats?
Meal prep, I would say. I do chef's plate. I think it counts at meal prep, yeah.
Yeah, okay. So what about debits or dividends?
Dividends.
Of course. As a finance expert.
I received my email this morning. You received that amount of dividends.
If somebody gave you $1 million right now, what would you do with it?
My friend, she asked me that question last time, and I think I'm not ready for this because there's a lot of tax implications that I need to take into account. Because if I'm still, you're laughing. It's not like you receive 1 million for you, girl. The taxes, you must be surprised. The taxes. So you have to organize yourself. It's not, I'm going to receive 1 million. There's 2,000 here and here and here. Like, you have to organize yourself. How much money is left after the taxes? So there's a lot of work that I need to do actually on I'm planning this because I'm not sure, but there's definitely a portion that I'm going to invest, another portion I'm going to travel, of course, and also enjoy with family. My mom, my sisters, my niece. Like, yeah.
Okay, so we're wrapping up now. I just wanted to, find out from you. If you are going to tell your 18-year-old self one money secret, what would it be?
18.
Mm-hmm.
I would start now, girl. If I started at 18 years old, I would be even in a better financial shape. Yeah. Because you have to start early, start small, and be consistent. Even if you start with, $25 per week or $50 every 2 weeks, you have to start small and early. Because the thing with financial literacy, a lot of people when they want to be interested in this, it's like, oh, I want to make money quickly. How quick? Guys, it takes time to grow your money. Years. That's why I'm trying to do this work where people they will be 20 years old, they will have that money grown already for them, because I know it takes time. So that's why 18 years old, I would be start now, girl. You open your life insurance, put some money every month, and then that's it.
Right. So, if we are able to live in any country in the world aside from Canada, where would it be?
Oh, so I have an idea of where I would love to live in the future. I love Ivory Coast personally.
Ah, okay.
Yes, because they have tourism, so there's money in the country. Politically, it's fine in Africa. They have the best food from Africa for me. And I'm not even Ivory because I'm Congolese. I love Congolese food too, but they have an amazing, amazing food. Culturally, we're not too far Congolese from Ivory Coast. They speak French. And I love the way they dance, the music, and everything. So it's a whole envelope that is really attractive to me.
Nice. And I like that you talked about what's it called now? A habit from like a country. What habits, of course, do you think that is very common in France that you think that we should adopt in Canada ASAP?
It doesn't have to be with the money, right?
Well,
Doesn't
money habits.
money habits that they do in France.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, in France, we have less money habits because we have more resources. Like, we go to school for free. We should have school for free in Canada, but how is it possible?
But the
School,
government does give grants.
yeah,
I mean, but there's a bit
exactly.
of loan to it, but
You need
yeah.
to apply. It's a whole process. It's not everyone getting grants, but yeah, it does. Sometimes grants are also staying on the table because people don't know and they don't use it. So that's a thing. Another thing they do in France financially, I don't know if we have really habits. It's because in France, for example, we have it in Canada too, EI. But in France, we have EI, and as soon as you're done with EI, first of all, you can have EI for forever in France, and as soon as it's done, you have another kind of EI at the bottom that you can have. I remember when I came to Canada. And they were like, you need to come with a certain amount of money. And, after once I was like, oh, I still don't find a job. So I go to the Francophone Center. I was like, you don't have any financial aid? They was like, no, we don't have any financial aid. That's why we're telling you when you immigrate, you need to come with that amount of money. So, yeah, in France, we have a lot of more resources, or even we have, the government retirement pensions that is a little bit better than the Canadian ones, but it's getting worse and worse because they were giving free money all of those years, and now it's getting complicated, right? But yeah, I'm not sure if there's one money habit that we should bring from France to Canada.
Okay. So, what has been your money journey and experience here in Canada?
My money journey, it's been amazing. It's been it's been in Canada that I was able to really dive into investing. So I did investing in France through insurance policy. The kind of investment I was doing in France, it was my real estate property. I bought my first property at the age of 27. So that was mostly this for me. I was saving money, and I was younger, right? I was saving money, buy my first property at 27, and then I moved to Luxembourg. And then it was all about saving, but also, traveling and all that. And then I came to Canada, and then it was about, okay, investing. So invest more of your money, do all of those, retirement savings plan at the bank, employee savings plan, and invest in more ETFs and all that. So it was really in Canada that I dived into more investing and diversification too, right? Because you could have real estate, you could have ETFs, you could have gold, bitcoins, and all that. So I really dived into, okay, how can I diversify my portfolio actually, right?
Right. Well, so in wrapping up the episode, I want to say a very big thank you for joining us. And this has been so funny. It's been emotional, and of course, it's been educative as well. What would be your final words to anyone that is watching you that needs encouragement in any part of the world right now?
I would say keep pushing, keep going, because you never know where life can brings you. I want to talk about my first depression that I did 2 years ago in 2023, and when I got out of it, I didn't know it was depression. I just thought I was sad and all that, right? And in the black community, we don't you don't talk about it. Even until now, I never told my parents, oh, I was depressed, I did a depression. Even saying that, it's not possible for them. Even for my mom, she would be, no, you were always posting on social media and traveling. They don't really understand that. And seeing that now, 2 years after, I'm a full-time business owner. I am
In a better place
I'm
now.
in a better place, like in any, whether it's spiritually, romantically, I'm in a better place. And I never thought that 2 years ago you would have seen me. It was not the same life. So now I want to look at the next 2 years and be like, wow, it's going to be amazing. So anyone's that listening is that you never know what life has in store for you in
Yeah.
2 years, in 3 years, in 5 years. So keep pushing, keep praying, and everything will be okay.
All right. Thank you so much for joining us. And in closing, I wanted to say thank you so much if you're still here watching or listening to us across all our platforms. All I would ask of you is to please subscribe to our channel on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and everywhere you're able to stream your podcast or videos. And we'll see you on the next episode. Till then, stay well and remember your best days are ahead of you. For now, bye.